What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the last week. It's been a busy week, lots of topics to jump into. If you enjoy the scale news, hit the like button before you leave. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to see these videos as soon as they get uploaded every Tuesday. But let's jump into the topics. And the first topic coming up is a leak that got out about an upcoming release of an SCX24 with a new licensed Chevy body on it. Now, I am a Jeep guy, but I have to say this little SCX24 with that Chevy body looks really good. And I've, at this point, not really messed around with the SCX24 too much. I had one for a little bit, but the little truck kind of has me thinking that maybe it wouldn't be a terrible idea to pick another one up. I believe that we're going to see an official release on this within the next 1 to 2 weeks. Officially announced from Axial this week, however, we do have a new gear set for the Axial Capra or SCX-10-2 and AR-44 gear set. This is a 27-tooth ring gear and an 8-tooth pinion, giving you somewhere around a 12% overdrive ratio. It does reduce your gear ratio slightly, and they're showing this for the Capra, which already suffers a little bit from, too high of a gear ratio, but it likely will aid that vehicle in climbing. You would install this ring gear set in the front axle to make that front spin a little bit faster than the rear, giving you better turning and better climbing. In the last scale news update, we showed the teaser of the VS4-10 Ultra kind of laser outline, and then following that, we got the official release of the VS4-10 Ultra last week. It was released on Wednesday and started shipping on Friday. So those are available now from hobby shops and Vanquish products. This is the new portal axle version of the Vanquish VS4-10 platform. It's very similar to the VS4-10 Pro in a lot of ways, with having machined axles and the VFD transmission. The Ultra does come with 80mm shocks instead of the typical 90mm shocks that came on the previous VS4-10s, and it comes with the VFD transmission kit version of that transmission. The half cab body, VXT tires, and KMC beadlock wheels are the exact same as it was from the Vanquish VS4-10 Pro. So if you wanted to pick up a VS4-10 kit, but you really wanted to have portal axles, now you have that option that is available with the VFD transmission. The new VS4-10 Ultra is available in a clear anodized axle option or a black anodized axle option. And you can find the links to both of those in the description below. Speaking of the VS4-10, RC 4-wheel drive's partner CC Hand released a number of upgrades specifically made for the Vanquish VS4-10 Origin bodies. Looks like this is mainly made for the Origin half cab version that came on the Pro or the Ultra. But several of these options will still work with the original SUV style body, which is still available. RC 4-wheel drive is listing several of these options, including a number of bumpers specifically made to fit the body, as well as some light mounts. And then we're also seeing that CC Hand has several other options specifically made for the VS4-10 as well, including some rock sliders, some rear roll bars, a little kind of upper expedition rack style cage, just a number of little add-on parts that they're making. Doesn't look like RC 4-wheel drive has all of those yet, or not sure if they're going to carry all of them, but either way, if you're interested in some of these, kind of retro styled parts to go with kind of that retro style body, then you might want to look up CC Hand's offerings and see where exactly you can pick up all of those parts. But like I said, some of them are available from RC 4-wheel drive right now, so I'll link to their website where you can find those now. And there's several other news stories from RC 4-wheel drive this week. The first one being that it looks like RC 4-wheel drive has updated all of the TF2 platforms to now include the Yoda 2 axles compared to the original axles that they were using. These axles have been around for quite a while, and I believe that these are just an overall upgraded version compared to the originals. So now it looks like if you order one today, hypothetically from RC 4-wheel drive, you should get the upgraded axles. Not sure what that means if you're trying to order from other stores or websites or hobby shops that may have it on the shelf, but looks like the new ones from RC 4-wheel drive specifically, at least, will have these new axles, and I'm sure that will kind of make its way through the line as time goes. The next thing that RC 4-wheel drive released is a new pulling sled. Now, I've seen pulling sleds before, and I thought RC 4-wheel drive had one, but I'm not 100% sure. But nonetheless, they've got a brand new one available that's a full spec version with nice rubber tires, a molded cab, a weight box with a release so it's easy to use and easy to reset, the whole deal. Cost on it isn't cheap, it's about $500, but that is a pretty good price when you compare it to other sleds that were available before. So this one looks like, if you're really looking to get into some sled pulling, not a bad option at a really good price. The next release was a 90mm King shock set specifically mentioned for TRX4s. A little bit of an oddity on the release here. The shock itself is two-tone in color compared to a normal, single color King shock, which seemed a little odd to me there. And then also it's a 90mm shock versus the TRX4 shocks that are usually a little bit longer than that. And then overall, RC Overdrive shocks never really been big performers. The King shocks are popular for looks, not something I would necessarily go after for performance, but this one just seems to have a weird catch in the looks with this two-tone setup. Don't really get what they were going for there. I've never seen a full-size King shock that was a two-tone setup like that, but maybe I'm wrong. But if you'd like to take a second look at these things, I will link to them specifically in the description below. You can go check them out yourself. And then the last release from RC Overdrive is kind of a twofer, and this is actually another release from JD Models or JD Customs, very similar to the Hero truck that RC Overdrive had before. But now they've got this, it's a 1/14th Overlander build. And they've got two options, like I was saying. One is an ARTR 4x4 style vehicle, and the other one is an RTR, but it's a 6x6. The 4x4 is a hard molded plastic cab, and then it's basically a blank slate on the rear of the truck, made for you to just build it into whatever you'd like. And again, it comes in an ARTR fashion, which means that it's pre-built but has no electronics. Not a bad setup, really meant for builders, it looks like. And the price being less than $400 for something like this, not that bad. Looks like a pretty decent, platform to build something very custom on. The 6x6 version is about $900, but it's fully ready to run. And it also has a full bed on it that's kind of like a stake post style flat bed or cargo bed, however you want to call it. It's just an overall ready to go type rig. I think that 4x4 would be the version that I would look at or be interested in. Granted, it is 1/14th scale, so it's going to be smaller overall. One of these in 1/10 scale would be really cool, but of course, things like this start to get pretty large. But a custom Overlander build on that platform could be pretty cool. Something I wouldn't mind seeing what users who actually pick this thing up do with it in the end. Definitely see how there could be some really fun custom builds based on it. I'm sure that 6x6 version in the fully ready to run state that it comes likely won't see as many custom builds based on it, and with that price tag, probably just won't move quite as many as the other version, which is less than half the cost. But speaking of 6x6s, it's a perfect segue to our next release, which was one that we talked about slightly last week with the new release from Cross RC being the TC6. We saw last week, I had seen a little bit of news around this, but nothing specific. This week, they had released full pictures of it. Again, it is a 6x6. It's similar, with a heavy truck style, 6-wheel drive, 6-wheel steering. And it's all independent, all the way around independent suspension. So a completely different style than what we've looked at, or even than a lot of the 6x6s on the market right now. Of course, it's cross style being very well detailed overall. And it looks like we are seeing that engine that we saw talked about last week. We weren't sure where it was going to come in. It looks like it is in the front of this TC6. So another just nice detail. Cross just taking it a little bit further than everyone else as far as that scaled detail goes in this type of setup. Didn't see a cost specifically on this. I do believe that that information has got to distributors or dealers, but not something I've ran across available to the public yet. If I had to choose between that new Cross 6x6 and the RC 4-wheel drive 6x6, it'd be a tough decision. I think that the Cross is going to be a good bit larger than the RC 4-wheel drive version. I think the Cross is a 1/12th version, possibly. I could be wrong on that. And then the RC 4-wheel drive is a 1/14th. Now, the Cross is independent all the way around, which I don't necessarily love. Personally, I would always rather have solid axles, which the RC 4-wheel drive does have. So, that Cross does have that fully detailed engine, which is hard to beat. I've owned a Cross before, and I've been around others that had the durability issues that I've seen in the past. And of course, RC 4-wheel drive hasn't been completely free of durability issues, as we all know as well. I don't know, but as any YouTube video goes, why don't you let me know in the comments? Let me know which one you would choose. Not knowing the cost at this point, or at least me not knowing the cost, Would you rather have that Cross TC6, or would you rather have that RC Drive 1/14 Overlander version? And while you chew on that question, we'll talk about the new release from Traxxas, and that is their assembled Blazer bodies. So now you can pick up the Blazer body options that they had available on the ready-to-run vehicles. You can pick up that body set completely separately in case you were trying to either build something custom, or you want to take your Bronco and convert it to a Blazer because now you like Chevys more than you like Fords, or maybe you had a tactical or a Defender or a Sport and you want to mix some stuff up. It's available. Pick it up separately. It's not cheap, but it does come in orange, so there's always that. And for the last topic of the week, an unfortunate story. One of the members of the RC crawling and scale community passed away unexpectedly last week. Nick was the founder of Helios RC and a part of Bowhouse RC, a couple of names that you very likely could have ran across if you've been into this part of the hobby for a while. Nick was a kind, talented, and committed person to the hobby, as well as in his community and to his family. I was shocked to hear it, and my condolences to his family and all his friends. So on that somber note, we're going to end this one. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of the week.